You know that feeling. You get a new job offer, you agree to this great salary or this fantastic hourly rate.
Oh, yeah. The big number.
A big number. That's your gross pay.
Right.
And in your head, you're already spending it, right? You're planning a trip. You're paying off a debt.
The math is happening instantly.
But then that first pay statement hits your inbox, and the actual money that lands in your bank account, your net pay, is just shockingly lower.
Sometimes it feels almost comical, the difference.
It really does.
Huh?
So for today's deep dive, we want to know, where does all that money actually go? And more importantly, why do the rules for those deductions look so different when you cross the border between the U.S. and Canada?
It's a universal source of confusion, and that's why our mission today is really total pay stub literacy. We're going to break down the anatomy of a pay stub using both American and Canadian examples.
And then get into the main event.
Exactly. The head-to-head comparison between the two biggest mandatory deductions for retirement, the Canada Pension Plan, CPP, and U.S. Social Security.
This is so important. It's not just about, reading a receipt. It's about your financial health, catching mistakes, and really understanding the retirement systems you're paying into right now.
Let's do it. Let's break it all down.
Okay, so first things first, the pay stub itself. It's basically a financial snapshot, right?
That's the perfect way to put it. It details every dollar you've earned, every dollar that's been taken out, and the final number.
Starting with gross pay.
Right, the amount before anything is touched. For salaried employees, it's just your annual salary divided by the number of pay periods in the year.
And for hourly workers.
It's your rate times the hours you worked, plus any extras like overtime or commissions. That's the number you actually negotiated for.
Then, after a whole lot of subtractions, you get to the net pay, your take-home pay.
That's the number that pays the bills, the one we all really care about.
But you're saying there's another number on there that we often ignore, but it's critical.
Yes, the year-to-date totals, the YTD. It's the running tally of everything, your earnings and all your deductions, from January 1st right up to that pay period.
I think most of us just glance over that until it's time to do our taxes.
Yeah.
Why is it so essential to watch mid-year?
Because it's your audit tool. Yeah. It's how you catch mistakes in real time. For instance, both Social Security and the first tier of CPP have an annual income cap.
Meaning you stop paying into them after you've earned a certain amount for the year.
Exactly. But payroll errors happen. I've seen it where companies continue to deduct those contributions long after an employee has hit the cap, especially if they switch jobs mid-year.
Ah, so the YTD number is your proof.
It's your proof. You can see the mistake right away, get it corrected, and get your money back in your next paycheck instead of waiting, 9 months for a tax refund.
That is a fantastic tip. So check your YTD every single month. It's not just for taxes, it's a real-time error checker.
And it's your proof of income for a loan or a new apartment. It's undeniable.
Okay, so let's get into the deductions themselves. Before gross becomes net, you hit this whole maze of subtractions. And it all starts with a form you fill out on your first day.
That's right. In the U.S., we're talking about the W-4 form, the Employee's Withholding Certificate.
And this form tells your employer how much federal income tax to take out of your check.
Precisely. And it has changed so much. Anyone who's been in the workforce for a while will remember the old system of allowances.
Oh, yeah, claim 0 or 1 or 2. It was always so abstract.
It was. And the IRS found that the old system was just too confusing. It was leading to a lot of people under withholding all year and then getting hit with a massive, unexpected tax bill in April.
So the 2017 tax reform got rid of it.
It did. The new W-4 is much more direct. It doesn't use allowances at all. Instead, it asks for your filing status, the number of dependents, and lets you input specific dollar amounts for other deductions or credits.
So it's kind of like a mini tax return right at the beginning.
That's a great way to think about it. It's designed to be much more accurate from the get-go.
And the key for you, the listener, is that this is a flexible tool. You can change your W-4 anytime. If you want a bigger refund, you tell them to withhold more.
Or if you need more cash in your pocket right now, you can tell them to withhold less. Just be prepared that you might owe more at tax time. It puts you in control of your cash flow.
Now, let's go north of the border. What's the Canadian equivalent?
It's called the TD1 form, the Personal Tax Credits Return.
And it works on a similar principle.
Similar, but a bit different. The TD1 is used to calculate your tax deductions based on the personal tax credits you're eligible for. The big one for everyone is the basic personal amount.
Okay, what's that?
For 2025, that amount is over 16,000 Canadian dollars. So by claiming it on your TD1, you're telling your employer, hey, don't take any federal tax off this first chunk of my income.
And just like the W-4, you have to update it.
You absolutely have to if you get married or especially if you take a second job.
Why is the second job so important?
Because you can only claim that basic personal amount once. If both of your jobs use it to calculate your deductions, neither one is going to withhold enough tax, and you could be looking at a huge bill at the end of the year.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Okay, beyond income tax, let's talk about the other big mandatory deductions. In the U.S., that's FICA.
Right. FICA, it stands for the Federal Insurance Contributions Act. It's really two different taxes rolled into one, Social Security and Medicare.
And you and your employer split the cost.
You do. For Social Security, it's 6.2% from you and 6.2% from your employer. For Medicare, it's 1.45% from each of you.
And this is where it gets tricky with the income caps.
It does. For 2025, you only pay that Social Security tax on the first $176,100 you earn. After that, the 6.2% deduction stops for the rest of the year.
But not for Medicare.
No, Medicare is uncapped. You pay that 1.45% on every single dollar you earn all year long. And for high earners, once you cross the $200,000 threshold, you get hit with an additional 0.9% Medicare tax. That one never stops.
Okay, now let's look at Canada. There's CPP, which we'll get to, but there's also employment insurance, or EI.
EI, yep. That's deducted at about 1.64% of your insurable earnings, and that's capped at around $65,700 for 2025.
And that's the fund that provides financial help if you get laid off.
Exactly. It's the core of the Canadian unemployment safety net.
So before we dive into the retirement giants, can we touch on the pre-tax advantage? These aren't mandatory, but they show up as deductions.
Yes, and they are financial superpowers. We're talking about things like your 401k or RRSP contributions or money you put into a health savings account.
But they're called pre-tax because they come out of your paycheck before the government calculates how much income tax you owe.
Right. So if you make, say, $5,000 and put $500 into your 401k.
The government only taxes you on $4,500.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You lower your tax bill for today while you're saving for tomorrow. It's why financial advisors always say to maximize those contributions if you can. It's a win-win.
Speaking of funding the future, let's get to the core of this.
Yeah.
The huge difference between the Canada Pension Plan, which started in '66, and U.S. Social Security from way back in 1935.
They have the same goals: retirement, disability, survivor benefits, but the way they manage the money is just, it's night and day.
And this structural difference is everything when you talk about their long-term health.
It is. Let's start with the U.S. The money you pay into Social Security goes into these big trust funds. And by law, those funds can only be invested in one thing.
Which is?
U.S. Treasury securities, government bonds.
So it's basically the U.S. government lending money to itself. I mean, that sounds incredibly safe.
It is the safest investment on Earth. There is virtually zero risk of default. But there's a huge trade-off.
The returns must be pretty low.
Very low, conservative. They're designed for safety, not for growth. The system is structurally forbidden from investing in things like the stock market or real estate that could generate higher returns.
Okay, so that's the U.S. model. Absolute safety above all else.
Yeah.
How does Canada's CPP do it?
It is the polar opposite. CPP funds are managed by the CPP Investment Board, which is an independent professional investment organization.
And they're not just buying government bonds.
Not at all. Their mandate is to maximize returns without undue risk. So they operate like a massive, sophisticated global investment fund. They invest in public stocks, private companies, infrastructure projects, real estate, a fully diversified portfolio.
Wow. So one is a passive, ultra-safe government IOU system, and the other is an active, growth-oriented global investment fund.
That's the fundamental philosophical divide right there, and it has massive implications.
Let's look at the contribution rates for 2025. For the U.S., we set at 6.2% each from the employee and employer.
Right, up to that wage cap of $176,100.
And in Canada for the CPP.
The base rate is 5.95% from each party, but Canada recently added a new layer.
This is the CPP enhancement.
Yes.
Yeah.
On top of the base contribution, there's now an additional 4% contribution from both sides, but it only applies to a specific band of income.
Between about $68,000 and $73,000.
Right. The goal of this enhancement is to have Canadians contribute a bit more now, to ensure that their future retirement benefits will be significantly higher. It's a direct response to ensure long-term stability and improve payouts.
So what do you get for all these contributions? Let's talk benefits. For Social Security, you need to work about 10 years to qualify.
You need 40 work credits, yes. and your benefit is calculated from your highest 35 years of earnings. Full retirement is shifting towards age 67, and the max you could get in 2025, if you wait until 70 to claim, is just over $5,000 a month.
And the CPP.
Full benefits start at 65. The maximum monthly payout for 2025 is around 1,400 Canadian dollars, but a really neat feature is the post-retirement benefit.
So if you keep working while you're collecting CPP.
You can choose to keep contributing, and every year you do, your future CPP payments increase a little bit. It rewards continued work.
Okay, this brings us to the big anxiety-inducing question, sustainability.
Yeah.
We hear a lot of worry about Social Security running out of money.
And that anxiety is based in the official projections. Because the fund is limited to those low-yield bonds, the forecasts show it can only pay out 100% of its promised benefits until about 2035.
And after that?
After that, ongoing contributions are only projected to cover about 83% of the benefits.
A nearly 20% cut. That's a huge potential shortfall. How does the CPP's outlook compare?
It's much, much healthier. And the investment strategy is the single biggest reason why. By being able to invest in a diversified global portfolio, the CPP Investment Board consistently achieves higher returns than U.S. government bonds.
So their fund is just growing faster.
Much faster. As of their latest reports, the CPP is considered financially sound and isn't facing a funding shortfall. The diversification paid off.
It sounds like a classic risk-reward scenario. Canada took on calculated market risk for higher growth, while the U.S. prioritized absolute safety and is now facing a long-term math problem.
That's a perfect summary. It really gets to the core of what we think a public pension should be, a conservative safety net or a modern growth fund.
And just a quick note, if you've worked and paid into both systems, you may be able to collect from both, though there can be some reductions.
Yes, you'll want to look into the specifics of the windfall elimination provision on the U.S. side.
So to wrap this all up, we've gone from that big gross pay number on your job offer through all the mandatory deductions, FICA, EI, CPP, income tax, all the way down to your net pay. And we've highlighted how those crucial forms, the W-4 and the TD1, give you control over that process.
And while knowing your pay stub is step one, understanding the architecture of the systems you're funding is the really big takeaway here. The difference between the U.S. model of mandated safety in bonds and Canada's diversified portfolio is, well, it's one of the most important distinctions in North American public finance.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to consider.
Given that you are required to pay into these systems, how should a government balance these two competing ideas? Is the mission to provide absolute safety, even if it means lower growth and future shortfalls? Or is it to embrace modern investment strategies to ensure long-term growth and solvency, even if that means taking on some market risk? That's the tension to think about the next time you see those deductions come out of your pay.